What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream. I'm currently here. James is here as well, though. A little camera difficulties there for Mr. Grande today. If we get that figured out, maybe we'll see his pretty face. If not, we got his little Google Chat avatar there shining away. Either way, though, James, we got a 6-game main slate today. You're on the playbook today as well. And it should be a pretty interesting one, right? We got yet another slate here where, not like the cream crop top guys. Yesterday we had the Giannis, though, ruled out. Jokic, Embiid, though, ruled out, like those top plays. Today, once again, we're on a slate where Jason Tatum is the top prize player. SGA, who is currently considered questionable to play today, is at 10K. And then we're kind of in the mid-tier. Some fair and balanced lineups likely being made. We got a couple guys already ruled out. John Morant is doubtful to play today against Orlando, so we can fire back up some Tyus Jones at a pretty nice price tag. That return of John Morant the last couple of games saw Tyus's price drop here. So going to certainly be one of the chalkier plays on today's slate against Orlando. But 6 games, as we called it all season long, kind of the wheelhouse for us.
Yeah, this is a perfect slate. And I think this slate is so good because there's so many meaningful basketball games going on. Miami, Toronto, both jockeying for playoff position. Cleveland, Atlanta, the same. We can cancel out the Charlotte side of things, but we already know they're resting pretty much everybody they have. Memphis still playing for something. Orlando still playing their guys a boatload of minutes. Pelicans and Golden State, obviously, that's probably the most important game of the night, just considering both teams, like, one night could be the 6th seed and one night be the 12th seed. The Western Conference playoff picture is still so crazy. And then obviously Boston can still go get the 1 seed. So there's still a lot to play for on this slate. 6 games. I love the no star power type thing. Not no star power, but no, like you said, no Jokic, no Embiid. It really makes you dig deep, with how you're going to build your lineups.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like yesterday's slate, there was just too much value.
Right.
Today, you don't really have anybody to go up and get at 11K with all the value. So it's gonna make for a more fun build. When you look over at Vegas, let's look. Boston 11.5 point favorites. That's the biggest spread on the board. 224 total in Washington. Boston, Toronto, Miami, slate low, 219.5. But I alluded to this before we started. Miami's actually been a dreadful defensive team this month, 28th in defensive rating in the month of March. So maybe worth noting because Toronto has been playing well offensively. Cleveland, Atlanta, John. Never have I ever seen a Cleveland total at 236. But here we are because Atlanta just can't play defense. So 236 total in Cleveland, Atlanta, 1 point spread there. Charlotte, OKC, 230.5, 9.5 point spread. Memphis, 7 point favorites, even without John Morant, 231 total. And then slate high in the late night hammer is New Orleans, Golden State, 2 hours after every other game kicks off, of course.
Yep. That's how it always is. Those old Golden State days when they had Durant and they were firing on all cylinders, it was if you did not have 10:30, 10 o'clock Golden State exposure, you were never safe with where you were in the standings. It was just ridiculous. And the way Golden State is playing right now, especially at home, you're kind of feeling that same way. If you don't have some Curry or Clay or something like that in your lineup, nothing is safe at this point.
Yeah, I used to say the same thing in that game with Brandon Ingram.
Right.
If that game stays competitive with how Brandon Ingram's played. So that should be a fun game. New Orleans, I'm looking at just quickly, New Orleans only team on a back-to-back, I believe.
Do we have a front end for OKC by chance?
It feels like we do. This feels like we do. Schedule. Let's see. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow we have Oklahoma City at Detroit. So, this feels pick your poison for OKC if you want to play SGA against.
Said he's questionable. The last time they had a front end of back-to-back, they played 12 guys, right? They had 7 guys off the bench.
Yeah, SGA did play in that game, but yeah, they did play 12. But Charlotte, Detroit. That is quite the back-to-back to have when you are in a playoff
Yeah.
race. Gun to your head, SGA plays or no?
No.
And he plays tomorrow?
I think he plays tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll see, though.
I think Detroit is probably the better team right now. Probably,
I
maybe.
mean, yeah, no Rozier, right? So
No, maybe no Oubre, no Hayward,
no
no
Mark
Mark Williams.
So yeah, it feels like maybe he sits here in the front end, plays the second leg. I will say this too, just kind of looking over some of these guys that we generally just kind of gravitated to in recent slates, all tough matchups, right? Porzingis gets Boston, Siakam gets Miami, Trae Young gets Cleveland, Van Vliet gets Miami, Butler has Toronto, right? Like these are all guys that we've just been kind of like throwing into our lineups because these prices have been crazy. Like you see Trae Young at 9,100, you're like auto click, and it's like, oh, it's Cleveland now. 2 games against Cleveland this year, he has played very well against them. He's averaging almost 50 fantasy points. But, it's a tough matchup, right? Like on paper and in theory, it's a tough spot for these guys here. So let's just get to it. Point guard spot, we mentioned SGA. Obviously, if he's active, I'm not going to worry about him being limited. I'll just play him. So at 10K against Charlotte, if he's in the lineup tonight, I'm playing him over Tatum, probably, as like the top spend up. But then you get that next tier of Curry, of Trae Young, of Fred VanVleet. All of them are just playing ridiculously well right now. How do you rank those 3 plays? Again, if you look at the DVP, points allowed by position, bottom 10 teams in terms of allowed points to the point guard spot. So not the easiest of matches for the 3 guards here.
I'd probably rank them how they are priced.
Okay.
Jordan Poole's a little banged up. I know he's probable and he's likely going to play, but there is, maybe some hesitation with him tonight. Maybe that leads to more Curry. But, 23 shot attempts last game. There wasn't much hesitation there.
That was such a weird game because Vegas had Minnesota Golden State as like the highest total on the board. Neither team scored 100 points.
It was a great game in the first half. Nobody scored in the second. Like, not a soul scored in the second half.
Yeah.
I like Curry in tournaments. Look at their point totals in the prior games, right? Like, they scored 119 points in, 7 straight games? So, they are scoring a lot of points. I expect that to be the case again. So, I'd go Curry first. Trae, even though he does have a tough matchup, like 9,100
he's playing so well outside of the game even the game he got ejected, he had 25 fantasy points in 21 minutes. And look at point total, like 270 points scored in that game. Like where would Trae Young have ended had he played that entire game?
I know.
I think I lean Trae over the Pelicans.
Over Steph?
Or Curry? Is that weird today?
No, it's good to see Trae play 35 minutes.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. We know Curry will play 35. Trae, it's obviously not guaranteed. So I don't think it's weird. I still lean Curry just because Trae has been like semi-limited, playing low 30s minutes as opposed to Curry playing high 30s. But
sure.
He's getting to the free throw line a boatload. He's scoring a lot of points. And you know what? He's fared well in this tough matchup. So no problem having Trae first. I think VanVleet is last. Okay. Look, Miami's been 28th in defensive rating over the last month.
Sure.
But it's
Scottie Barnes came back last game. VanVleet still had 50 fantasy points.
Still had 50 fantasy points. OG Anunoby had 50 fantasy points in that game too. Like again, we've talked about this, John. It is so hard when Toronto is healthy to
right.
correctly guess.
I was so sad Barnes was back because it killed our Boucher play.
So. Yeah, it did kill. Yeah, I know. And then Boucher, after going 25 and 13, just back to the bench. Yeah. No problem getting to VanVleet, but it's just the same story for Toronto every slate. It's if you want to play one of these guys, they might go off, or you might just get them on a floor game because 2 other guys are going off.
Yep. Mid-tier, do you play Giddey today if SJ is out, or is this back-to-back just worry the hell out of you here?
So I don't know.
Those minutes for Giddey the last 2 games, 39 and 35, have been what we've been begging to see.
Right. He's been the best player on the floor for them too. In each of those 2 games, he's been better than SGA in both those games.
This is the player I was telling you he was as a rookie. I'm like, let this kid on the floor. Like, he can be this type of fantasy player. And they just like wouldn't give him the opportunity enough. And some of that's his own development as well. But like next year, once again, I'm just gonna be like, draft Josh Giddey. Like, he's just gonna be a monster.
So like looking through his back-to-backs, there's been like 4 straight back-to-backs where he's played less than 30 minutes on one of the 2 games.
Okay.
So the last time that he has done 30 plus in back-to-backs has been in January. So like it's been a while. I assume he's going to be limited in either today or tomorrow. My guess would be if SGA sat today and we get full complement of run from Giddey today, and then he's limited-ish tomorrow if SGA returns.
Yeah. Yep. That's probably fair.
So I don't know. Like, it's hard for me not to click Giddey's name if SGA does not play.
Yep. The guys under 8K here, you got McCollum at 79, Garland at 74, Dennis Smith Jr. all the way up to 7K here. Tyler Hero, Markelle Fultz, the Boston guards, Cole Anthony. Does any of them really jump out to you as like a top play? Obviously, McCollum had a really good game yesterday, even in the limited minutes. Only averaging 35 fantasy points, though, in 3 games against Golden State this season. I know what Dennis Smith Jr. has been doing in terms of playing time, but that feels a little pricey for him. I don't know. I'm not in love with this tier. I would play CJM just for the exposure to that game, but maybe that's it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think CJM is definitely the top dog here. I'm probably gonna go back to the Garland well, John.
Hasn't worked out, but
as painful as it's been, the minutes are still there, the shot attempts are still there, the price tag is still there. Atlanta 4th in pace this month.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously great for opposing teams. They're also 24th in defensive rating, so it speaks to the 236 total here. I'm good getting to Garland in tournaments. Like, this is my thing. I'm going to play Darius Garland at 74 over Dennis Smith 7K 9 out of 10 times.
I would probably do a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's nothing to take away from Dennis Smith. I just don't think he's a 7K player.
He's not, even with everyone out. And we know Garland has, he scored 50 actual in a basketball game, multiple times in professional basketball game. So,
I'll give Dennis Smith Jr. for getting back into the league because he was out of the league for a bit.
True.
So
no, it's not. Again, I think you and I have long talked about Dennis Smith Jr. being a rotational piece in the NBA.
Yeah. He didn't deserve to be out of the league considering guys who are in the league. So
no. So I'm happy for him there. I'm not going to pay 7K for him. I like Garland. I like McCollum. But you're largely correct. We can just skip this whole tier and just play Tyus Jones.
I do want to at least mention without skipping, Cole Anthony. I got off.
He's been awesome, dude. He has been so good.
When Suggs was in the lineup and Franz, I was like, I can't play Cole at 6K anymore. Too bad. 31 minutes. He played more minutes than Markelle Fultz. He had 33 fantasy points, 21 actual. Again, let's not forget, this guy was a lottery pick 2 years ago, right? So, and he did nothing to lose his job. They just kept on drafting guards. And then, Markelle Fultz became the one who was promised, hey, the camera's there. Figured it out.
We're back. We're back.
So I like Cole Anthony as a piece to your lineup tonight. But Tyus Jones is $5,300 going up against our lineup. And he's going to probably be the highest roster guard maybe on the slate, depending on what goes on in Washington.
I would say Tyus is probably the highest owned, unless they came out and said we're starting Johnny Davis or something.
I was gonna say I think because Johnny Davis is priced at 4,100, so he's a shooting guard only as well. But Boston's won each of their last 3 games by over 24 points,
and now they're getting a corpse of Washington.
Right. So odds are this is going to be a blowout game here again. So I don't know what that means for minutes. I will say that in these blowout games, Derek White has been getting minutes. Like he's the one playing 30 plus in these games that are being blown out.
Brogdon broke the slate the other day.
Yeah, Brogdon
That was
broke.
obviously without those Sans Tatum, but
yeah, allowed that. But Brogdon only played 26 minutes in that blowout there. Marcus Smart in that game.
He got ejected. He got ejected.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot he got ejected. But the blowout against Indiana, he only had 27 minutes in that one. So I think Derek White's the guard they keep on the floor.
He's just so much more expensive than
I know, but
else.
look at the ceilings that he has. Like he is like,
yeah.
I mean, Derek White was the player of the month.
I know he was.
Right? Like this. I agree with you. Very hard to get to. I just didn't want to overpass the fact that like he's been so good right now. Cole Anthony's been so good right now. Tyus will be very chalky. Goodwin, if he starts, could be pretty chalky at 47 if over Morris.
Same for DeLon Wright and same for DeLon Wright.
Yeah, DeLon Wright. Like any of these guards, if they end up starting, because everybody in Washington, like you said, is questionable or out already, could certainly have some, some potential value there. Anybody else for you at guard? I mean, Maladon played 20 minutes the other day. He's at 3,900.
Like if Kyle Lowry, who's listed questionable every slate, but if he doesn't play, like Oladipo's out of the rotation, I would play Gabe Vincent maybe at 4K. I know he hasn't been great, but 2 games ago, 8 for 12 from the floor. Like we know Gabe Vincent is a bucket at times.
Sure.
Probably. I don't think there's anything else you can.
Okay. Would you look at Jalen Suggs at all, or just not worth it? 24 minutes, 25 fantasy points in that game against Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, was that the end of the Gary Harris 18 minutes? He didn't even play against Boston. Okay. Yes. Because he didn't play against
Brooklyn. He didn't play against Brooklyn.
He did play Brooklyn. Okay. But he only played 18 minutes. So yeah, I think this is like the final let's
you think
face Gary
Suggs
Harris.
And Anthony kind of switched roles here? Because Anthony was the one playing like 24 minutes off the bench. Then all of a sudden, Suggs goes down. Suggs comes back. Anthony's playing the 30. Suggs is playing the 24.
Yeah, maybe. I don't hate Suggs. It's just 4,500, 24 minutes. Like, right? That's probably the safe projection is probably putting him at 24 minutes. Like that just so like if you think he can get there in 24 minutes, then yeah, he's fine.
Okay. Shooting guard, Jaylen Brown's $9,900.
Probably can't unless there's like a late scratch to Tatum or something.
Yeah. And Tatum's not even on the injury report, so
yeah.
If anything, this could be a spot where Brown sits. Wouldn't like. I mean, they got that matchup on Thursday against
Milwaukee.
So that's something just to kind of keep in mind that maybe.
And that would put them if Milwaukee were to lose tomorrow, Boston could tie for first, right? Is that what it is? I think it's 1.5, or now it's 2 because they played last. No, it would be what? Yeah, they would tie for first. If Milwaukee lost to Indiana tomorrow, they would be tied for first if they win on Thursday. So,
which is why I feel like they sat everybody, because they're like, we're more likely to lose to Indiana than we were to Detroit. So
right.
All right, so yeah, Jaylen Brown's $9,900. If you need Tatum out, I don't think any of the guards being ruled out. I don't think it impacts.
No, I don't think so.
Thoughts on Donovan Mitchell? Got off to like a crazy hot start, and as you mentioned, just kind of cooled off there against Houston.
I love this spot. It's the same thing for Garland. Like everything also fits for Mitchell. Like it's a huge pace-up spot. Atlanta's a bottom-feeding defensive team, and it's a 236 total. Mitchell multi-position eligible. I know he hasn't had like that pop game, but so I shouldn't say that, because 3 times this month, twice he's faced Boston, he scored 40. And he's faced Miami 40. Like, this is a meaningful game. Like, this is a playoff game. Look at all the games that Donovan Mitchell has played this month or like recently in games that like have meant something. He's like just shooting so much. So I'm all in. I'm definitely getting to Mitchell. I think if SGA is ruled out, he'll be super contrarian to because everyone's gonna get to Giddey.
Yep. You'll have Bane at 73 without John Morant.
Yep. Great.
Pretty good one there. DeJounte, not to overskip him. The assists have been pretty good for Murray lately. No less than 8 over the last 4 games for DeJounte there. Heroes in the mid tier we've discussed. Clay down to $6,600. I know recent games haven't been great, but I mean he's still playing 35 minutes a night.
And he always has the tournament
Yeah.
pop.
Yeah, that's too cheap for Klay Thompson, I think. If you're just talking about like ceilings, like
Yep.
in this range, he's got the
Agreed.
highest. So
Agreed.
I like that a lot. Anybody else here? Do you play Kispert? Do you play anybody else?
I mean,
Svi at 49,
OG
like,
OG went for 50 last game. Again, fits in that Toronto
Sure.
mold. Like, if you want to take a shot, he has
Mhm.
very good eligibility. Kispert, whatever. Levert is still playing big minutes. I think.
Your boy Kennard has been playing really well.
Yeah, he
No
has,
draw
dude.
tonight.
He has been playing really well. He had that insane game 2 nights
Yeah,
ago.
10 threes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He's a very good floor spacer. He was that at Duke. He was that when he got time with the Clippers, but like now he's getting consistent run.
His player image is creeping me out. I feel like
It
he's
is,
staring into
yeah,
my soul.
it is a little much. He should have got him with his eyes closed a little more.
Yeah, close your eyes a little bit, Duke.
Um,
It's like a guy who always blinks in pictures, so he makes a really big effort not to blink.
Yep. That's exactly what that is. Yeah, I think Kennard's fine. The problem is, for $100 cheaper, you can get Max Strus, who has been like a lightning ball lately.
Did you see what Isaiah Joe just did?
I did because I meant to click him instead of SGA, John, and I accidentally spent $5,000 more on SGA. I mean, look, we know that, right? Like,
yeah.
Look, the last three guys we just said, Kennard,
When is Struss playing all
Joe,
these minutes for? What's the deal?
Oladipo's out of the rotation, and Kevin Love only plays like 18 minutes, so they're just like playing small with Butler at the 4, which is why.
A nice tan. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, they're on South Beach,
playing
right?
So South Beach, yeah, man. Like,
so
but that's not like that's not suntan. That's like he goes to a tanning booth for that.
Well, maybe is he
looks...
Italian? Maybe he just got the olive skin. Like that's me. Like when I go out to the beach, I got the
German,
Italian.
But
is he? Yeah, Max Strus. Yeah, that makes sense. That would make sense. This tier in general are like just such GPP darts. Like Kennard can be a fireballer. We just saw him make 10 threes. Yeah. Strus has scored 25 actual in 2 of 5 games, and Isaiah Joe just broke the slate 3 slates ago.
Johnny Davis,
last slate. Johnny Davis played 30 minutes. Like all 4 of those guys are in play. They're all in play.
Yep, I'm with you there. Anybody else down here for you?
I don't think so. Gary Payton Jr. worth mentioning, 15 minutes in his return, so we could be seeing a ramp up. We know he got some good run in Golden State.
If Levert's out, did Levert
Okoro
out? Did Levert start the second half?
Second half. Yep.
Maybe would that if Karras starts for Okoro, would you have any?
Yes.
Probably throws Chetty in the mix for us here too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll get the small forward right now then.
We know what Chetty is, but I mean, 17 minutes on the night he went 2 for 10. Like he's,
we need guys out of the rotation for him.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
10 shots in 17 minutes is encouraging. Plus, he's $3,600. Anyways, top solid forward JT here, coming off of a rest game. We've seen him just torture bad teams all season long, right? Like he scored like 60 against Charlotte in a half. He basically, he went for 61 against Portland. He went for 56 against Sacramento.
Torching bad teams.
48 fantasy points in 32 minutes against the Pacers here. Like, is Corey Kispert defending him? Like, what's
They have no. They have no
Danny
shot.
Avdija gonna be guarding Jason Tatum?
They have no shot. They have no shot to guard him. It's just a question of staying.
Like how many points? It's just how many points does Tatum score in 3 quarters? Basically, is what.
Yeah.
We're looking at here?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I will say, I think the good thing about Tatum is the way his rotation falls. Isn't he the early sub, or did they move that to Jaylen Brown?
No, he's the early sub still.
So like he's the early sub. So in the third, he'll sub and maybe even get like, no matter what the score is, like he'll get his final run in the early 4th, right? Yeah. And like we'll see, maybe
he didn't play at all in the 4th quarter of that Charlotte game. So
okay, so a bad sign.
But we'll see. Like you said, if Boston sits somebody out tonight, I mean, they're looking at this team and they're probably like, we don't need all of these guys active today to beat this team. Like maybe Jaylen Brown does take a rest day. Do they play on Wednesday as well, Boston? Do we know?
No, because they play Thursday. That would be a
3 days in a row. Right. Yeah. Okay. So
I could check if they play Friday. So they like.
Nah, that won't matter.
No, 3 and 4.
They'll play everybody against Milwaukee though. So.
Well, there's only 2 games. Boston does play on Friday, by the way, so they'll have a 3 and 4.
Okay.
So maybe this is a rest spot for them. Like
sit Jaylen Brown, get him 2 days off before Milwaukee.
Yeah, but they're gonna go to him and say, Jaylen, we want you to rest today. He's gonna say, yeah, but I don't want to be here, so I need to play out for a contract for my next year.
Yeah. He's gonna think they're trying to steal his All NBA contract boost. But Jaylen Brown should be at least a second team All NBA player this year, at the very least.
He should be on an All NBA team.
And there was conversations being like, does LeBron James deserve to make an All NBA team this year because of all the games he's missed and like all of those things? So,
there needs to be a game stipulation for.
I mean, there's going to be next year.
Yep, sure.
And we'll see like what that turns into for guys.
Sure.
So Tatum's there 10-4. I'm fine playing it. Is if someone's out, someone's in. Again, he's probably only playing 30, 28 minutes in this game, assuming it goes as you think it will.
I know it was a different matchup last game, but like they beat the Spurs by 1 million without Jason Tatum. Like,
right.
This is like basically Spurs-esque.
Yes.
With Kristaps Porzingis, right? Like that's
the thing. Like if Zinger just goes off and keeps this team in,
of course,
like that's best case here. So anyway,
yeah, I mean then Tatum Zinger stack wins you all the money.
Right. So listen, again, I know we're just talking, but like obviously we know what Tatum can bring to the table. That just brings us to Brandon Ingram. We've been talking about him for like 2 weeks now. Scored 43 fantasy points in 31 minutes last night. Didn't play the fourth. We're expecting a competitive game here. He's averaging over 40 fantasy points in 3 games against Golden State already this season. Price tag's fantastic. We love Brandon Ingram here. Also, I like Jimmy Butler. This is a tough spot for Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler, for the most part, has been playing out of his mind. Tough game against Brooklyn. They lost by 29. But like we mentioned, these are games that Miami has to win. I don't think anyone's going to be playing Jimmy Butler today, so I think as a contrarian option, Buckets went for 62 against the Knicks just 2 sites ago. So I don't mind it. I don't hate this spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is like they're still not giving him power forward eligibility, which is extremely frustrating because he should be just look at their rotation, guys. Like they're playing Kevin Love 18 minutes and they're playing Caleb Martin, but like Caleb Martin has, I believe, both eligibilities. Like, why would Jimmy Butler not have both eligibilities? Right. I like them both. Obviously, I think I lean Ingram. I think the game environment is better, but like you said, Jimmy Butler's going to be contrarian and has 60-point upside. So, in meaningful games, Jimmy Butler is at his best, and this is obviously that.
Yep. I didn't mean to skip over Kelly Oubre. He's only listed as questionable. If he does suit up today against OKC, I'd play Kelly Oubre.
Oh, he's gonna be a firing squad. He's gonna have how many shots? Under
25?
Oh, I was gonna say over under 25. Over under 24.5 shots. I would take the over.
Yeah, I would probably lean in that direction as well. It's a good price for 68. I'm kicking myself because I had been playing the over Denny rebound prop. It's been 7.5. For the last handful of slates, and then he went into Toronto, and I was like, I don't know if this is a spot where he's going to rebound with Pirtle and Siakam and Scotty Barnes and OG, and he goes for 9. So
sure did.
Look at the assist totals though, 6 or more in 4 of the last 5.
I'm happy for this guy, dude.
Rebounds.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, dude. Like he's
he's not another Jan Vesely from.
No, he's a good player. They said he was a good player when they drafted him last year. He's getting the playing time. I don't know why he was behind Hachimura this whole time to begin with.
Who's getting DMP'd in Los Angeles.
Right. I guess there's no reason not to play him against Boston if he played so well against Toronto and Denver, right? So
Yep. Agreed.
Go ahead and throw him out there at $6,500. I'm fine. Again, did not play Franz against Brooklyn. Sailing game. Yeah, well, I just don't play him. I just never get to this guy.
Never.
Play him though. You should be playing Franz Wagner. I don't know.
He now lost his shooting guard eligibility. Yeah. That's the downside. He's been shooting guard small forward, making him so much more appealing, I feel. And now it's now it's just small forward. And it's yeah, he's been good, but Now he lost his eligibility a little
Right.
bit.
Yep.
Not the best.
Scotty Barnes came back, 35 fantasy points. We talked about OG going for 50. You can kind of just flip a coin there if you want. Dylan Brooks, 5K. Any interest in Oja?
Yeah. Some interest.
Some interest. We know Hunter will play minutes. We talked about Svi. Let's see. Anybody new down here? Doesn't seem like it. Not really. Another team is not playing Sadiq Bey. Yeah, that's sad.
Yep, another team. Chetty.
Yeah, we mentioned Chetty.
36 tournaments. He'll get on the floor for likely 17 minutes, and if the shots fall, he probably plays low 20s.
I absolutely love my phone is blowing up at all these random 10-day contract guys signing.
Yeah, I mean, March
Xavier Sneed signed to the Hornets today.
I actually created him in 2K a few days ago.
Yeah. Luka Smeliak or whatever the hell it was just got signed by the Jazz.
Shout out, they need another center. Perfect.
Yeah, they need another big. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Signed him off the Celtics G League team. I mean, taking our depth. Anyways, well, that's what you're gonna be looking forward to the next 2 weeks. Is all these 10-day contract guys going nutty. All right, power forward here. Let's just stay on track as best as we can. Zinger, Siakam, top 2 guys not named Jason Tatum. Interested?
It's hard not to be interested in Zinger for tournaments, right? Sure. It just is. Like, he's an elite fantasy producer. The question at the end of the day is, will this game stay competitive? I don't know. You mentioned Boston's beat everyone by a million. They have nobody. It doesn't feel good, but we know he has 60 fantasy point upside. Yep. And same for Siakam, but flip a coin for all the Toronto guys.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson here at 8,300.
Yep.
No John Morant.
Please stay
at home. Coming off of a 5-block, 3-steal game against Atlanta.
Please stay out of foul trouble.
Just stay out of foul trouble.
Please.
Just stay out of foul trouble. I was all in on Evan Mobley the other day. Kudos to Justin Fensterman. He really liked Jared Allen. I was like, Evan Mobley feels like the guy I want. Jared Allen went nutty against Houston. But Evan Mobley had another really good game. 19, 7, 5, 3 blocks and a steal.
And Allen's actually questionable, John.
Good.
Just to throw that out there. And that brings us to our Chetty point. Remember, we were playing Chetty with Jared Allen out a few weeks ago, and Chetty was getting mid-20s minutes. So I love Mobley. I think that's a great call. He's been literally not being removed from the floor.
Yep.
He's playing 40 minutes a night. Which is
another player that I have never gotten right in my entire life is PJ Washington, but he may be the only healthy actual starting rotational player in their lineup. And 20, 22, and 22 shots the last 3 games.
You could pay 78. No, I know. I know.
There's legit 20-10 upside here. So,
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
but I'm gonna play him. I mean, he's gonna score 25 fantasy points.
Yeah.
He's gonna have his 4 for 20 shooting game.
He has to be one of the most least exciting rosters of all time. Like, not that he's like does anything wrong. It's just like,
well, he does some things wrong. He gets taken advantage of by an Instagram model.
Yeah, and that's true. And he gets in random foul trouble at times, and like when he's not shooting, like I don't know.
Boncaro only played 29 minutes the other day. I don't really get that one.
So that's why I'm a little indifferent about like some Orlando. They were blowing Brooklyn out,
sure,
and then it got a little close. So like I'm willing to look past the 29 minutes. But 7,200 is a very good price.
Jalen Williams did play 32 on the front end of that back-to-back against the Clippers and Lakers. There's no travel, obviously, involved in that there.
He seems fine. The last back-to-back, 35, 37. It's literally just Giddey, dude. They just limit Josh Giddey. I don't know what it is about Josh Giddey that they feel the need to limit him on back-to-backs because he's like 20. I don't even know if he's 20 yet. He might not even be 20. But like Jalen Williams plays all the minutes.
Yep. Yeah, I like him. 67. Obviously, if SGA is out, he is another guy that may just pop to be one of the more rostered players on the slate. So
I agree.
Something to definitely keep in mind there. Al Horford's looked good, but again, how long is he going to play against Washington? Our boy John Collins rising from the ashes here.
Having a good finish to the year. So raising his trade stock quite a bit.
Nearly double doubles against Memphis there, 9 and 10. Not his best shooting performance, obviously, but 31, 25, 35, 25, 33. Like he's starting to be a bit more involved here. They certainly will need him here against Cleveland. So I don't mind it for Collins. Let's see. Anybody else down here for you?
No. There is nothing down here, brother. I mean, Kai Jones is here, but we'll talk about the Charlotte center rotation.
Yeah, we'll
right
see
now
what,
it's center.
Yeah, I don't know if I can ever trust Kai Jones, but you can. I mean, who knows? All right, centers here. The first center on the board that we haven't discussed is actually Jonas Valanciunas at $7,700. A lot to like about J-Val.
So good right now.
A lot to like about J-Val. Right? He's got to stay on the floor in this matchup. They're not going to take him off, I don't think.
Dude, haven't we been talking about the Nance injury? The Nance injury is, I don't know if it's blatant to everyone else, but it's blatant to me. They can't play Larry Nance. Right. After speaking about the injury to his foot or his knee, whatever he's injured with, Valanciunas has coincidentally played or averaged 31.5 minutes over the last 6 games.
You know what's been pretty apparent to me this whole season is that you should be playing Valanciunas 30 minutes.
I agree. No, I fully agree. And
I just wish they saw that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, look at the last 5 games with him in the lineup.
Yeah, they're blowing teams out.
Dude, they're blowing everybody out. And granted, a lot of bad teams in there, but they even blew the Clippers out by 20 on a 17, 13, and 4 game by Valanciunas. Just feels like here's the reason. I could play Valanciunas 77 and not play PJ Washington at $7,800.
It's true.
I'd feel, and obviously feeling good about Valanciunas and minutes is never a good thing because he could play 15 tonight and none of us would even bat an eye that happens. But right now, 31.5 minutes a game and 50 fantasy points.
Yeah. I mean, talk to me about Clint Capella at 6K though. 29, 30, 29 minutes the last 3 games. Monster double-doubles the last 2.
He's good. He's really good. The problem is they drafted Ngakwe in the first round, and they're a great duo, right?
Yeah, but I'm more encouraged that he's not playing 22 minutes. He's playing 28 and more.
Right.
So.
No, I know. I'm just saying, that was the reason earlier, but new head coach. Quinn Snyder is just playing Capella. And Ngakwe...
Didn't they give Clint Capella a lot of money, too? Didn't they, sign him to a
yeah, I think last year they gave him a bunch of money. Ngakwe's been awesome, too. They're just getting so much production from their center position. Look, there's no reason for Quinn Snyder to go away from Capella if he's playing this well, right? So
the shooting efficiency is ridiculous, but it's because he only dunks the ball. So
it's always been that way too. Yeah. No, he's always been this efficient.
Where was he before? Was he Clippers?
Houston. He went to Houston. Or he was on Houston.
Houston was his first team. Okay, yeah.
He played with He played with Harden.
Okay. I forgot that.
I like Capella.
Okay.
Quite a bit.
Back-to-back 30 minutes for Looney. Against teams with real centers, do they keep Looney on the floor today against Valanciunas?
I assume so. I assume so. I assume they're ramping up their playoff lineup, right? This is what they're going to go with.
Yeah.
Because they gave the comeback in only 14 minutes.
Right. Let's see here.
Xavier Tillman just out of the clouds 30 minutes against Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't predict what happens there.
I mean, this next tier is going to have
what's the Washington rotation of Gafford's out?
Dude, I was about to say this next tier of, I mean, they could start. So in theory, they could do a Porzingis center lineup.
Who's
because they've done that. He is on their team.
Yeah, just looking at these guys here.
So they could start Anthony Gill, who they started a couple times, and play Porzingis at center, or they could do a Porzingis Denny front court. Because if Boston continues to bring Rob Williams off the bench, then that means Tatum at the 4.
So you do Porzingis, Denny, Kispert, Johnny Davis, DeLon Wright starting lineup or something like that.
Yeah, or Goodwin or Davis, one of those two. Yeah. That would be my assumption.
Interesting.
But this center spot between Looney, Tillman, Gafford, Richards, Ngakwe, Rob Williams is gonna have someone just go off. Probably Nick Richards is the most likely if he starts because Mark Williams is out. And you mentioned it before we got on the pod. They are resting one center per game and then just playing the other two.
Yep.
Whether that's like a 24-minute split between each guy, I don't know. But Nick Richards has been awesome in the last 3 games he's played.
Yep, he's been good. Anybody else?
I mean, I would play Ngakou. I know Capel's been awesome, but like, look at these numbers from Ngakou. He has not put up less than 23 fantasy points in 8 straight games.
Okay.
10 straight over 21.5. Like, pretty safe floor, just dominating second units.
Only going to bring it up because it's the matchup against Charlotte, even though I know the centers are not there anymore. But the other Jalen Williams, 26, 27, and 27 minutes the last 3 games.
Yeah, it is worth noting. He does have a pretty good ceiling when he stays out of foul trouble. There's just the looming question of, like, when does Alexei Pokusevski play?
Sure.
If he plays.
If he plays. Do we have we decided to reevaluate Charlotte at all with their current center rotation? Like, are they any better defensively with Nick Richards or Mark Williams or Kai Jones than they were with Plumlee there for 5 years?
Nope.
No? Okay. Didn't think so.
Mark Williams is a good shot blocker.
Yeah.
But he's not. We don't have to worry
He's
about
no
that.
Walker Kessler is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's no blocker Kessler, yeah.
Okay.
And Nick Richards is very foul happy, so like not concerned.
Yeah, but I mean against the Clippers there, Jalen Williams like almost broke a slate at 3,500. So
yeah, I think Jalen Williams is interesting. We just how long have we said it? It's the Thunder.
I know.
You know, and
3 straight
Dagnall,
games, 26, 27, 27. So
I fully agree. I'm just throwing it out there that the possibility of Jalen Williams playing 14 minutes is in the cards.
Okay, let's build a lineup here. Where are we going? Who's your guy? You're on the playbook today. Who's the cover?
Probably Donovan Mitchell. I know that's the kiss of death because if you put him in the lineup. But how about this? Tyus Jones, first guy in the lineup.
Okay.
That feels better.
That feels
right.
That feels better.
That probably feels better. Second guy in the lineup, Desmond Bane.
Okay. Do you want Bane or Jackson?
I was just going Bane because the price tag more so. Honestly, I wouldn't mind playing all 3. Personally, I don't care.
Okay.
I would play all 3. Ja just takes up so much of the everything.
Okay, so we'll go Tyus, Bane, first 2 guys on the list. Do you want Capella at 6K?
Yeah, I think.
Or Valanciunas at 77?
Yeah, I think.
Do you have a preference?
That's a good question. What about? I mean, Capella saves its money, but Valanciunas has probably a higher ceiling.
Yeah, $1,700 difference between the 2.
Play Capella. If he's gonna be the good game environment.
They got to keep him on the floor against that team, right?
Maybe no Jared Allen.
Yeah.
We like a lot of the small forward shooting guard value.
We do. Do we gotta wait for Chetty, or do you want to put Chetty in a lineup? 3,600.
Probably can't.
Okay.
But we know that it's there because if Jared Allen and Okoro sit, like Chetty might play 25 minutes.
Yep. I'm fine playing Max Struss with the way those minutes have been for him.
Yep. That was the way I was leading as well.
Okay. 6,700. We still don't have a top guy. Do you have a top play here? 9K and above, I guess.
Do we need one? Like we could play like Ingram or Butler. I mean, I'm fine. In that tier.
I'm cool playing Ingram here. Ingram at forward gives us still 6K.
Out of fourth quarter of rest last night.
Yep. Did you want Clay at 66?
That is a nice price.
It's a nice price tag, man.
Because we're building a tournament lineup, like that feels good, right? Like that feels.
So we got 5,800 for a power forward and a utility play. If just for the sake of lineup building, we put Chetty in the power forward, it gives us an 8K util, which is Valanciunas, double up centers, McCollum, Boncaro, guys like that. Obviously, if we take out Chetty, we're back to 5,800 to play for a power forward and a utility play.
Kind of like that. Chetty Valanciunas.
Yeah, Chetty Valanciunas looks good. John Collins is 52. Denny's 65. Jalen Williams 67. If those guys get ruled out, like obviously could be some spots. So yeah, I'm fine rocking Chetty. I think one of those guys probably sits, right? They're not both gonna play.
The Cleveland guys.
Okoro Allen, right?
So Okoro left last
and
game.
didn't return.
Didn't return. We'll probably get an injury report, or we'll probably get a shoot around update at some point. Because they've probably been in Atlanta because they didn't play. They haven't played since Sunday. So
okay. Well, if we get it, we'll roll with it now. Obviously, if not, we have some pivots here, but we're building an example tournament lineup for everybody. James is on the playbook. You know we'll be in the Discord if you have any questions. So just to recap here, we got a little game stack, which I kind of like, honestly, getting a little exposure to that midnight hammer there, late night hammer, New Orleans, Golden State. We got Tyus Jones, Desmond Bane, Max Struss, Seti Osman, Clint Capella, Klay Thompson, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas there to close it out. Get that 10 p.m. 3-man exposure in that game. If you have any questions, again, you know where to find us. Good luck. We'll be back for Wednesday's slate, guys.